What's YouTube Periscope? How y'all doing today? This is your boy Sanchez 405 coming at you. It is on the Warpath, y'all. And I got my Alexa on in the background. Hey Alexa, shut up. But anyway, good to thank y'all for coming in and joining in. And as always, I appreciate you. And come in, hit that like button, subscribe, share the video. And y'all, I'm going to be frank. I'm just going to get blunt, honest with you right away with this. Something that's been sitting in my hat, I guess you can say, for a while. And they've been talking about it in the DC media and the polarization or why they think that Dwayne Haskins is a polarizing figure. And you know who I'm talking about when I say it, because we see this media, this medium, I'll say, or a product of the medium, and it is the outfit that we know as the counter opposition to Dan Snyder and the Washington Redskins. That is 106.7 WJFK, the fan out there in Washington, D.C. And they had a discussion about our quarterback, Dwayne Haskins. And it really is right now, it is really him against the world. It seems like either you like him or you hate him. I don't know why. We didn't see enough out of him to hate him. Is he arrogant? I want a competitor to be arrogant. That's what I want him to be. Confidence is going to come off as arrogance. But that's all right, because he want to compete. And why would you go to a team, right, that has people in the organization, especially your boss, the head coach, that didn't want you, that did not make a conscious effort to help you improve as a player? Why? I don't know. I have no. It's a non-concept, right? You can't smile if you go into work like every Joe, Tom, Dick, and Harry, like me. We go into work. If our bosses don't like us or don't put an effort to help us improve, why in the world are we going to like them? We're not going to want to work for them. We're not going to put out our best effort. So they said, and this all stems from Haskins' Instagram post from last week, where he put the selfie, where he took the selfie after the Detroit game. And this stuck in the crow of noted on the record fanboy Chris Russell, or Joe the Rooster, whatever they call him. And that stuck in his crow. It pissed off a lot of people, according to him. According to him, it pissed off a lot of people. But my thought of the whole matter is that's in the past. It's the off season. Get old, move on. Clearly, this is the product of you have your Grant Paulsons, who's been blocked by Dwayne Haskins. Now the whole station's been blocked by him on Twitter. So I don't really see an outlet where they win this. They can't win in this. Like, they're picking fights. But this, I'm going to say this, and I'll be honest with you. This is what we get as fans. For a long time, and if you lived in the DC area and listened to it, Dan Snyder had a grapple hold on the sports market. He owned it. And he still has loyalists in there, like your Doc Walkers and everything. But it was nothing that was critical of the Redskins. Because I think for a while, WJFK wasn't, it was just news, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody check me on that. But they didn't have, it was just news, but then they came back and they started going out in this cover. I think it was probably, like 2010, 11, around that time, when they started coming back and talking sports. This was the fresh air media that we needed. They were critical of Vinny Serrato, I believe. They've critical of Bruce Allen. They've had parodies of Larry Michael, the play-by-play guy, and they are the opposition media. They are what liberals hate in Fox News. They are what conservatives hate in CNN and NBC. They are the opposition media to the Washington Redskins. They cover all the major four sports there, but they also broadcast three of them: the Caps, the Wizards, and the Nats. They are the flagship station. I don't think the Caps, but I believe it is the Wizards that they are. So if you don't have every ingredient in the pot, you're gonna try to get that ingredient, right? Or you're gonna try to make somebody, if somebody's not with you, you're gonna make them out to look like the fool. And that's what they do. We brought this on ourselves. I can't get mad at them for being opposition media, but I can get mad at them for not being fair. And they are not being fair to Dwayne Haskins. And Chris Russell was talking about Dwayne Haskins holding on to those much. So I went and I did a little research. Chris, I hope you research too. I know you're probably not watching this, but that's okay, brother. That's okay. You should look at this stat that I found on NFL.com. It's next gen stats. Next generation. It's called time to throw. Dwayne Haskins has a 2.87 from the time to throw. That is equal to Dak Prescott's release. Lower than Aaron Rodgers, Ryan Tannehill, Lamar Jackson, and Chris Russell's very own Kirk Cousins, who owns a 3.01. So don't come and give me that excuse that he holds on to the ball too much. Could it be that he has an offensive line that was lackluster, lacking an all-pro tackle, lacking a reliable right tackle, who seemed to false start all the time? If it was stuttering, Morgan Moses would be compared to Porky the Pig. A beep, 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 a beep, beep, beep. That's all, folks. Or in his case, it'd be a beep, 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 a beep, beep, beep. I false started, folks. So I don't want people coming here and talking about this brother like he doesn't know what's going on. He's a sharp kid. He has the talent. He has the arm strength. Give him a shot. Be fair to him. You can be critical and you can be fair. We understand the selfie thing was stupid, but he was a rookie. He admitted it. It was wrong. Move on. Now I get it. You're in the, you're shock jock, whatever you want to call it. And you've got to have a polarizing opinion. You get it for ratings. The guy he beat, and then talk about people saying he bringing in Kyle Allen through the trade. He may have an opportunity, but I think Dwayne Haskins is going to get his opportunity first, and that's what we need to realize. And rightfully so. He deserves it. He deserves to go into a full season with somebody who's going to give him the opportunity. The one thing about Ron Rivera is he's not soft, but he's fair. He is critical, but he is fair. They say life is not fair. You can be fair in life and critical. It depends on if you have the tough skin to weather it. I don't think you hear me. You got to have the gall, as Stephen A. Smith would say, the unmitigated gall to go out there, the nerve, the determination to go out there and do what's done. I think he can do this. I think the brother can do it. And if y'all want to join in, let me know. I'll drop the link to you. Tell me what you think in the comments. But yeah, this has not set right with me. Am I the biggest Dwayne Haskins fan? No, but I want him to get his fair shot. I'm not going to be I'm not going to salivate to this, but I'm not going to be mad that he's being hard with the media. I'm not going to get upset about that. Now, if he's being a jerk to kids, I'll have a problem with that. Granted, shouldn't be role model, but whatever, sports athletes, whatever. I would have a problem there. I don't have a problem with him not dealing or not putting up with Chris Russell and Grant Paulson and the Junkies. I don't care. It all stems from a tweet. I lost a tweet because I had to restart my computer that Grant Paulson even jumped on and said this was disparaging to the station, and it was a dangerous quote. I'm like, what a dangerous quote? What is this? Like, I didn't know that 106.7 The Fan was the president of the United Sports Radio station. I don't get why you're getting upset about this. And why you felt like the need to respond. But, if you're representing something, if you're representing that outfit, more power to you, homeboy. So I don't know. I don't know how I really feel about this. And then he didn't have weapons last year. Jordan Reed was hurt. You had Terry McLaurin, which when he hit him good. You had Steve Sims. He hit him. He improved. That's what people neglect. They fail to realize this. He didn't, as he came along, he got better. The last 2 games down the stretch, he fumbled the ball and against Philadelphia at the end, but he didn't turn the ball over. He beat Kyle Allen. Outplayed. He did enough to win. Whatever you want to say. He did enough to win against Kyle Allen, who is now his backup or his competition. Whatever you want to put it. However you want to put it. Don't matter. I thought there's been some things going out here on there was a trade rumor coming up, and this is going to help him with one of the positions. O.J. Howard is reportedly on the trading block. I think this is a good move for the Redskins to make a phone call. It's like I said, I commented on Ed Oliver's post yesterday. I'm in the Nike mindset. Just do it. Make the phone call. If Trent Williams is going to go play with Tom Brady, let him play with Tom Brady. Let him think that he is going to go out here and try to win a Super Bowl. Whatever. If you want him to go to Cleveland, trade him. But we are in the 11th hour, and you are going to get your highest value probably now. I don't think anybody's going to give up a 2. They might give up a 3, maybe a couple of 4s, maybe a 2 next year. But I think they see the writing on the wall. They've got a guy who does not want to be here, and really a team that I don't really think wants him. Kudos, like I said, to Ron Rivera. They don't comment on this stuff. They don't comment on players under a contract. So that's a good policy that they have adopted. And like I said, y'all, what O.J. Howard brings to the table, he brings size, right? He has declined a little bit in production value, but he did split time with Cameron Brate. And Cameron Brate doubled up with him. But last year, he had 30 receptions, 459 yards, averaged 13.5 33 long, 1 touchdown. His best season came in 2018, where he had 565 yards, 16.6. He had a long of 75, 5 touchdowns. And that was a year that they struggled, and they had multiple quarterback changes in 2018, where they went from Fitzpatrick to famous Jameis. So I think the Redskins really, really, really need to go after this. I'm not saying I don't trust Logan Thomas to be a starter. I don't trust Jeremy Sprinkle. And then Richard Rodgers, who's had some health concerns in the last couple of years. I have some issues there with that. But other than that, I think they should make this move. You got to make this move. Big body, 6'6", 200-some pounds. Somewhere you've got an extra option. And if you get a big wide receiver in the later rounds, the kid out of Liberty, he could be a shot right there. So I think take the flyer on him. Excuse me. Don't sell the farm, but take a flyer out on him. And then, as we know, there's some conversations coming up into next week as we kind of continue talking about the draft. I think the Redskins are set on Chase Young. And I think for the first time we can say in a long time, 1, I think we'll get a generational talent. 2, the Redskins can't mess this up. They can't mess this up at 2. Because I think you're going to get good value at 2, either if you're drafting Chase Young or Isaiah Simmons. You get versatility with Simmons, and you get that elite pass rusher with Chase Young. 2 things you need. You give Jack Del Rio a chess piece, or you give him a bulldozer. You cannot lose. You can't lose. But I just want to caution Redskins fans, because I'm like this too. So don't put this dude on a pedestal. Don't put him on a pedestal just yet. Don't crown him. I'm channeling Denny Green. Don't crown him yet. Do not crown him. But be excited for him. Because we don't want this kid to get the anointing feeling right when he walks in there. And then he limits you to, he kind of sir down. I call it the hangover effect. And by the hangover effect, I call it the movie The Hangover. My friends had talked about, I remember when I was in college, my friends had talked about The Hangover. This is a great movie. This is a great movie. I had friends in high school watching it and said, this is a great movie. This, and that. The Tiger, Mike Tyson, all this stuff. Pedro, the little baby, whatever. By the time I got to watch this movie, it was a big letdown. Why? Not because it wasn't funny, but it's because my expectations had been rose up so high that I saw this movie for something that it wasn't in my eyes. So that's why I caution you. It's the hangover effect. Do not, like, and Mercer Pride said, Ron won't crown him. I know that Ron won't crown him. But in an age of social media, you have instant access to the fans and the media outside of the press conference in stadium and everything. I think that's worth mentioning. I don't want to ruin him like media and some of the fans ruined Robert Griffin III. That's one of my biggest concerns. Is he hope? Absolutely. I think he is, but I don't want to cry just yet. Because RG3 gave us this small sample size of great, but to the point it bottomed out. Whether it was his own doing or it was the voices in his head's doing, aka the media, the fans, owner. That's why but I think they're locked on Chase Young. Isaiah Simmons. The only thing I hope Isaiah Simmons doesn't go to the Giants, right? Because you don't want to deal with that. But either way, Jack Del Rio is going to get the best out of whoever the Redskins drafted. Number 2. I believe that 110%. And Jack, I trust. Whew. I did have my notes here. And like I said, thank y'all for stopping by and checking in with us. Let me see here. Nah, in-house would take care of it. Hey, I agree with you. Absolutely. Let's see here. Pull up my notes. One thing about doing these things live, you gotta have your notes. And I thought it was another interesting thing that I saw in here. USA Today did a preview, a draft preview of the teams, all 32 teams, and they did an interesting point at the Redskins general manager. Let's see if I can pull this up, because granted or not, as much as I give him crap, Chris Russell actually wrote about this and did a video on it. Let's see here. But he actually said that Dan Snyder was the GM of the Redskins, and he made a good point. Dan Snyder, for all his meddling, I don't think is active this year. And the one reason why is one person. This guy right here, Joseph Jackson Gibbs, is the reason why Dan Snyder don't meddle with the Washington Redskins. Because he was vetted, because Ron Rivera was vetted by Joe Gibbs. And I think that Dan, as a fan of the team, has so much reverence for Joe Gibbs that he is going to give Ron the reins. That he's given, not going to, but he has given Ron the reins. Ran on Ron, right? So, and Ron said in that press conference last week that Dan just checks in. He just wants to be in the know. Well, he owns the team, right? Why wouldn't he want to be in the know? That's his right. He's signing the checks. Or secretary's putting a stamp on it. Either way, these boys are getting direct deposited by Dan Snyder. So I thought that was interesting. Now, whether the USA Today wanted to just put that up as something to light a fire under the Skins, I don't know. We'll see. But I thought that was really interesting. Let's see here. Okay, but y'all tell me what you think. I'm going to be right back. I'm going to take a quick break, and I'll be right back. I've got some more for y'all here on the Warpath. All right, y'all, we're back. I had to get my notepad here because I still had some stuff to talk about, but I had the wrong pad up here. So I feel a little foolish about that, but nevertheless, the show must go on. So, in this time, talking about, I'm trying to cover a little bit more of the NFL news as it relates to the whole league. The biggest thing I saw coming out yesterday was the fact that the NFL will not release the schedule until May. And granted, the situation that we're in with the country, with the COVID-19, this is not surprising. According to Yahoo Sports, I do believe, the NFL has a contingency plan where they will try to either they're going to schedule a full season, but they will have contingencies on shortening the season with the coronavirus concerns, especially when you have areas like New York, California, where that's it's like a third of your league right there in the state of New York. You got 3 teams, and then you've got 3 teams out there in California. Well, no, you don't. Yeah, you still have 3 out there in California. You used to have 4. So, will it start in September? We don't know. When will they go to OTAs? They actually approved yesterday that the fact that they can go ahead, teams can have like virtual mini camps and meetings and all this good stuff via Zoom, kind of like what they're going to do with draft next week. So what do I think about that is, the safety is number one concern. I think with the NFL, it's a business. They all about the green. So we will see what happens from there. But I think people don't think they're going to have a season. I still believe that the NFL will have a season because just of the pure money making abilities. Like they make a lot of money on these broadcasting rights. They make a whole bunch of money on it. And granted, with people at home, you got to give some people some stuff to watch. And they're doing this how they're progressing with the draft. They're on the forefront of this, and they're out in front of it. So I think that we will have a season. I don't think they would put this much effort if they weren't going to have a season. So will they play in front of? Will not? Will they have limited? We don't know yet. Excuse me, but I do think that we will see a season. And then also A little bit of concerning news. The news that Von Miller, who is the all-pro defensive rusher linebacker for the Denver Broncos, he tested positive for the virus. He's in good spirits. He's supposed to be going live, I think, tomorrow. So it will be interesting. That's the second case reported with the NFL. The Los Angeles Rams center, Brian Allen, has it, but I think he's covering, or he's in good spirits as well. So, so positive, that's a good positive there, that he's coming and coming out of it. And then Von Miller is in good spirits. So that, like I said, I think we'll have a season. Will it be shortened? I don't know, but we'll see, because it's the NFL. You've got people like the Crafts and Jerry Jones of the world. They got to make that dollar. They got to make the dollar, y'all. But and then I thought, and the last thing I want to leave you with is up with these uniform changes. The Cleveland Browns were selling this big thing, and they went back to the uniforms that they had back in 2013. It's a classic fit. That's not new. That's recycled. The Brown, I mean, it's iconic, it's classic, whatever, but that was too much buildup for that. You got the Rams. We don't know what they have already. We've got the who else? The Falcons. They went with the FUBU Classic. Got the red top, the black, looking like the Mean Machine off of The Longest Yard. So that's I don't know, but like, if the Redskins come out with a jersey, a uniform, what I think they need to do, they need to go back to the spear. That's the first thing they need to do, is go back to that spear, get that dark burgundy, get them gold pants, and actually be burgundy and gold, not red and yellow. But, I think the Redskins are a long way away from that. If anything, if they make a uniform update now, they just need to switch. They need to go back to white and burgundy at home, or all white at home. That's something that is classic Redskins. That's when the Redskins were winning and successful, were the white tops and the burgundy pants and those pipe socks. You got to go back to that. But yeah, so but I just really wanted to come on here, talk a little bit about, like I said, Dwayne Haskins, the opposition media that is 106.7 The Fan. Like I said, give this brother a shot. Get somebody that can believe in her. I think Scott Turner will do that. I think Rivera will do that. They will give him an opportunity to be successful. They can manage a personality like Cam Newton. North Turner did it, and the Shula boy did it too. I think they can handle Dwayne Haskins. Dwayne Haskins, let him grow. There's going to be growing pains. It's no doubt about it. It won't. There's no doubt that there won't be any growing pains for this young man. He's 22. There was Urban Meyer came out and said that if he has tools in front of him to succeed, so if you give him an above average wide receiver, you've got an above wide receiver, you've got speedy wide receiver. If you give him somebody, maybe you draft somebody, a big tall kid in this draft, you give him another option. Give him a healthy running game. He's confident when the running game is working for him. He plays his best game, like in Carolina. The running game, they backed him up. They went out there and they played for the brother. Good. They need to keep on doing that. They run the ball, run until they're sick. But it's a conscious effort by everybody. The quarterback, he is the leader of the offense. He can make or break it. He's only as good as his tools. He is only as good as his tools. What's up, Yemi? Bro, you want to come on here, man? I really want you to come on here. Let me send you that link. Let me get you that link. I want you to come on here. Let me drop it. I'm going to drop it in the comments. It's got doubled up on there. But yeah, come on in and click that. Come on in the studio, man. If you got an opportunity, I'd love to talk to you. But it's like I'm saying, though, y'all. It's a thing. It's a patient thing. It's a maturation process. You can't give up on. Okay. What's up, man?
Boy, you caught me right as I got in the bed.
Bruh.
What's going on?
Not much, man. Not much. And what you
I'm
think?
with you. I'm with you, man. I think when I look at when I listen to all these sports talk radio shows and they bashing Haskins, man, I'm like, did y'all watch the last three games? I mean,
Yeah.
especially fans. Quarterback rating above 90. His interception ratio dropped. He was actually getting the ball down the field. He was pushing the ball down the field, which was good. Um, if you look at those last three games and look at Steven Sims' numbers,
Yeah.
um, look at Harvin's numbers, look at McLaurin's numbers, there was there was an upswing. And I think a lot of these Redskin fans that are screaming for Tua aren't football educated.
No.
I mean, why would you bring somebody with an injury history as long as Tua's is and talk about getting rid of Dwayne Haskins?
Right. I mean, he would he have like 5? I saw a graph where he had like 6 injuries in like his last 2 years at Alabama. I mean, you can't. It's asinine to think this guy is gonna hit the ground running. In Alabama, let's just go. Let's just be honest with Alabama. They've got toys all over the place for every quarterback to succeed. It's like Miami in the early 2000s. They made Kent Dorsey look elite, and he couldn't throw his way out of a paper bag in the NFL.
The question is, name
Yeah,
one quarterback outside of Joe Namath from Alabama that won a Super Bowl.
you
I'll wait.
can't.
I'll
You
wait.
can't. You can't. It's like the same thing. I say the same thing about USC quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
And my cousin Mark Sanchez. They said the same thing. I don't trust quarterbacks from Alabama. I don't trust quarterbacks from USC. And if you want to give me skill position players, I'll come into on offense with you. Wide receivers, I don't know. USC, they ain't had a little bit of hump with wide receivers, but like Alabama, running backs, wide receivers, defense, linebackers, linemen, safeties, whatever. I don't trust quarterbacks there.
Mm-mm.
No, I mean, there's a reason why McCarron hasn't started in this league.
Because they're system quarterbacks.
Right.
They're built around the system. And a lot of people that don't know football have
Mm-hmm.
never put their hands in the dirt, who just sit there and may have played in 8th grade and in high school and probably didn't even play past 10th grade, probably played JV. They don't understand that when you're looking at a player, you can't judge the player by the highlights.
Mm-hmm.
Because highlights are made to make everybody look good. That's why they're called highlights. You got to break down film. Tua has all the intangibles, but there's one thing that you have to take into account. First of all, he's left-handed.
Mm-hmm.
To bring him to our team and make sure that Morgan Moses is defending his backside is retarded as hell.
Yeah.
And don't take it wrong. I think Morgan Moses is outstanding. I think he needs to be kicked inside the guard. because of his. If you look at the penalties that he gets, it's usually jumping off sides, and that's a sign that he can't kick out, so he jumps the snap count because of his ankles. He can't move out. But I bet you, and so he's not great in space. But if you move him inside, he would defend well. Right. Yeah, he could play in that box. So, I mean, bringing Tua there, and you really don't have a left guard or right guard. I mean, a left tackle or a right tackle with an injury history the way his is would be setting him up like we did RG3.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. You can't, like, we think about with the RG3 situation, you can't tell me anybody who's on that line. Like, the average fan couldn't tell you anybody who's on that line outside of Trent Williams.
Correct.
I mean, you know, it's like, who was it? Montgomery, Chris Chester. They had Columbus on there for a little bit, and God, and then who lined up beside in between Montgomery and Trent Williams on the left side? I don't remember the left guard.
No,
like it's.
You know what? That's bad.
Yeah, and it was only 7-8 years ago. What, like? I mean, it.
I hate to say this, man, but since I started really, so this year I really started following. I always followed Redskins football, but I never really got into the behind the scenes part of our football team with our fans and watching the YouTube channels and stuff like that. And what I'm gonna hate to say this is you're probably gonna get a bunch of feedback in the line, so get ready. We sound worse than Cowboy fans.
You ain't wrong. You're not wrong.
We sound freaking worse than damn Cowboy fans.
No, you're not wrong. I agree 110% with you. I'm like, the delusion is very, and if you go on Twitter,
oh yeah,
it is nightmarish how bad it is. Like I said, I'm the type of guy. I'm a process guy. I've been a fan of this my whole life, but I've been watching this team religiously since '98. Remember that season when they started out 0-7, and and 7-year-old me is like, maybe Twitch teams, right? But no, I stuck it out. So I know that greatness and watching other teams how to perform, greatness takes time.
Yes,
greatness takes a time. Iron sharpens iron. The process to thing, just like football is like life. Everything there's a process to it.
That's correct.
Process to it, and we jump off this boat. Then this is where I have with our American fans. They don't have the patience with Dwayne. They don't have the patience. They just see that little sample size of him struggling, and the fact that Jay Gruden gave up on him. Jay's gone. He hold on to the past too much. They see media still cover Kirk Cousins.
The same people that are bashing Haskins love Colt McCoy.
Crackheads. Kids. That's what you see.
The same people that are bashing Haskins liked Kirk Cousins. So I'm wondering, is it you don't like him because he can't play, or do you not like him because he don't look like you?
I think it's a little bit about. I would even take it a little bit further. He doesn't act like you. He doesn't act like you. That's what it is. The confidence is always arrogance.
Yes.
And the fact that he can hold his head up high, whether he's whether he's disappointed or pleased, I think that's a problem. Like people were, and it's like I said earlier in this video, going back to what Russell said, he posted the selfie and all this stuff and everything. I'm like, that's in the past. Let it go. He was a rookie. His start or something like that. Let it Just do the Frozen thing and let it go. Be done with it. Made his mistake. He admitted it. Move on.
Right.
Yeah, and then in the history of Redskin fans is if you some Redskins fans, if you don't look a certain way, hey, this is gonna that I'm gonna have problems with that. But it's like what Skins said yesterday. It seems like the pressure is on him a lot more than not. But my thing is, why isn't this pressure on? Why isn't this pressure on? Um, Dak Prescott as much? Why isn't this pressure on Mahomes as much? Is it because is it because it's girlfriend, or not? Like, um, what is the problem there? Cam Newton, because he dressed better than my grandma on Sunday morning. They have problems with that. Does it like to the field? Does it affect on the field? If it doesn't, shut up, watch them, let them play.
It seems like to me any brother that doesn't seem like they're towing the line,
Mm-hmm.
the they have an issue with.
Right.
And my thing is, they don't want you to be an individual. It's crazy to me how they want certain players to be team players, and then certain players can be individuals.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah. Oh
Aaron,
no.
like case in point, Johnny Manziel. Johnny Manziel acted a dang fool, and he don't get the negative press like Haskins gets.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just like another thing, Daniel Jones hasn't shown me a damn thing, and Daniel Jones don't get beat up near about as much as Haskins. And they and they let Daniel Jones get first team reps.
Mm-hmm.
Haskins came from throwing to the dang practice squad and getting put on the field. And
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 was go ahead.
and was sat at the very end of the dang bench because the coach didn't want the man.
Yep.
They don't take any of that into account. The first thing they do is get on the internet and start bashing my boy. And
Mm-hmm.
I hate to say this, you're not going to give him a chance, and that affects him too. Because
Yep.
don't think he doesn't go through the Twitter, he doesn't go on Instagram, he doesn't go on all these places and see these people, some of them that are in the stands and some of them that are not, that don't have his back. And,
Mm-hmm.
and the fact of the matter is, these kids, I mean, I hate to say it, but the younger generation, I'm 50 years old, I'll be 50 this year. They're not built the same way as like a Doug Williams, or let's say a Vince Evans, or a Will or a Gilliam, or these black quarterbacks that had to endure the suffrage of the league, but they
Mm-hmm.
carried themselves in such a way that it really didn't look like it affected them. Um, the not Jason, the Jeff Blakes of the
Yeah.
world. And I was really fortunate when I lived in Austin, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff Blake, he lives in Austin, and
Okay.
we kind of hung around some of the same circles. And I one day we were at a party, and I really got a chance to sit down and talk to him. And he said something that made a whole lot of sense to me. He said, "Why is it that quarterbacks that have not proven themselves, that don't look like him,
Mm-hmm.
can go from team to team to team and be in the league for 10, 15 years, may have started 15 games in their whole career, but a brother who has all the potential in the world isn't cultivated, and he only has one shot.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, dang.
That's,
I
I
never.
mean, that's true. Yeah, I mean, you look at, and I even say, and to expand on your point about going back to social media and everything, I know I didn't have it together at this age. Did you have it all together at 22?
Heck no.
Okay, then. So, like, what? Like, I don't get that. Like, I don't think anybody, most people are either maybe 3, 4 years into a full time job, just graduating from college, or like a few years into the service, or whatever. Like, you don't have everything at 22. I'm at 32. I'll be 30 in November. I still don't think I mean, I got a full time job, everything, and benefits, all that stuff. I still think I got it together. Like,
Shoot,
I still think.
I was 22 years old, had just come back from the Persian Gulf,
Mm-hmm.
had
Thank you for
fought
your
in desert.
service.
Oh, thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome. Had been to Desert Storm, and I was still ate up from the floor up. I didn't have nothing together. Couldn't pay my. Didn't know how to pay bills. Had been through two wives. Listen to me. Had been through two wives. Well, through one, and had started on my second one. Had already had 4 kids, and dude, we're looking at a kid Haskins who was uh, um, a scholar athlete.
Mm-hmm.
See, this is something they don't say. He was a scholar athlete. So if he was a scholar athlete, what makes you think he can't break down a playbook when he had over a 3.2 GPA?
Like, and that's another thing. They were like, "Oh, he didn't know the playbook. They thought he was dyslexic." I'm like, "Who is reporting this
What is
stuff?
this?
Like, what? Like, where did this come out of? Like, he struggled. He struggled in the top professional league of the sport because he's a rookie and he started 1 year in college. That's why he struggled.
Did
Like,
Peyton Manning have a good first year?
no.
And he started how many years in college?
Well, what, he started 3 years, didn't he? At
Yes.
Tennessee, he started
Yes.
3 years.
Did
So
Eli have a good first year?
Eli, yeah, no, he did not. Well, he did have a good second year, but
Yeah.
and I mean, to be honest, Eli, and to your point, if Eli was that type, looked like Warren Moon, he wouldn't have been he wouldn't have had an opportunity to be a 2-time Super Bowl MVP.
Heck no. And, and
No.
and think about this. Warren Moon left the University of Washington, went and played for the Edmond Eskimos, and it took him 7 years to get into the NFL because they wanted to
Right.
make him a dang wide receiver. He has thrown for more yards. See, this is something they don't tell you. He threw for more yards than any quarterback to ever play the game. If you combine his CFL and his NFL
Mm-hmm.
stats, the and and I always hear the best quarterback to ever play the game is Brady. He may not have won a Super Bowl, but he won 5 Grey Cups.
Yeah, and that's something that's more established than the Lombardi Trophy.
Thank you. So I mean, my argument, and I hate to say this, I just wish the fans would shut the heck up,
Go ahead.
shut the heck up, and let's see what they do. And then and I'm not even saying give him 1 year. He should get. He's on a 4-year deal with the 5th year option. He
Mm-hmm.
ought to be able to play that thing out.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I honestly, now that he's got new coaching staff, you got to give him a mulligan last year. You got to.
Okay.
You got to give him a mulligan. Like, that's the only right thing to do. Like, is to give him a mulligan in the fact that I think discredit Ron Rivera's character, to be honest with you, when they say, well, Kyle Allen, and I joked with Skins fan about this, Kyle Allen being a starter. But granted, I think more or less Kyle Allen came here to help Dwayne Haskins grow, not to supersede him. That's the thing. They brought somebody in here extra that can help him with the offense.
Right.
That's what that is. And I don't think people are like, well, he didn't give a hard commit. He didn't give a hard commit to Dwayne Haskins. That's okay, because there's this thing. It's called psychology, right?
Right.
I'm going to say, I might have something in my mind, in the back of my mind, that I know I'm going to do, but I'm going to project it this way. Hey, he needs to realize that he needs to earn this. He's going to earn it. And there's a reason why he beat out Joe Burrow, who some guy named Joe Burrow at Ohio State. What was the reason?
And Joe Burrow had been there for 2 years before him.
Exactly.
Was it 2 or 3 years before him?
It was something like, I think it was about 2 years.
So how is it that this guy can come redshirt a year, and then the second year he's starting if he doesn't have talent?
Right. You don't just throw 50 touchdowns either.
Well, Jameis threw 50. Now Jameis threw 30.
And 30 picks, right?
You know what? And I'm gonna tell you about that too. Watch, Jameis got his eyes fixed. He had LASIK surgery. Let's see what he does.
Hold on now. I ask people this all the time. LASIK corrects vision, like your distance, right? Does it correct color blindness?
You know what? Shut up.
Oh God! Does it correct color blindness? That's what I'm talking. And you know what? I'm gonna say, for Jameis Winston's sake, I give credit to God, I can't even think of his name now. What's the head coach down there? I love the dude. Yeah, Bruce. If it's not for Bruce, that's a credit to Bruce to stick with that quarterback. Even through his struggles, because one, he realized he did not have talent to back him up as much. He as a quarterback, he was the best quarterback on the roster, and he laid out and worked through things. That's a leader right there.
Yes,
it's the same thing Ron Rivera did with Cam Newton.
Yeah,
Cam was struggling. He didn't say in that rookie season, well, Cam, we got to pick you up. Now, if Cam was hurt, he'd be like, well, Cam, we got, your health is more important than that. You manage personalities, and that's what leadership is, right? You manage personalities.
Cam, I think when we look at Haskins, I see the shell of what he's going to become.
Mm-hmm.
And if his shell looks as good as it does right now, I can just imagine what the substance is going to look like inside of him in 3 years. Because I'll tell Redskins fans this: get rid of him if you want to, and he gets to his next team and he shines.
Right. And you're going to be jealous.
You wasted the 15th overall pick in a draft to get rid of a player. You idiots. Yep. Let this man develop. Put the weapons around him to make him successful, and let him play his game. I heard somebody in one of the chats that I was in said all he does is throw check downs. Hell, if he's throwing check downs and completing them, why are you bitching? Excuse my French. Why are you bitching if he's throwing check downs and completing them?
So, who was the starting quarterback for the Redskins last year? Alex Smith, right? What was the knock on him?
He couldn't throw the ball downfield.
He couldn't throw the ball down. He was a check down. I never forget, like in 05, 06, 07, check down, check down. That's all it does. He just throws check downs. He throws check down. If he's matriculating, whether it's a crossing pattern or whatnot, or or a bubble screen, whatnot, if they're producing and they're going downfield, my thing is the two things I look for in a quarterback is how often do you turn it over, and can you convert it on third down?
The first thing I look at.
What's that?
The first thing I look at the quarterback is when he's pressured.
Mm-hmm.
Where is his eyes? And if you can beat that, okay. Because look, if your eyes are downfield,
right,
when you're being pressured and you're not watching the rush, you have the potential to do great things. That was the knock on your cousin. He couldn't see down. He couldn't see downfield worth a damn. If the pressure
he
came
was staring at
straight
Brian
him,
Moore's butt. That's what it was.
Okay, he had a sandwich, but the opportunity. If you look at Haskins and you go back, and even if you watch the highlights, whenever he's flushed out of the pocket.
Oh, we lost him. Oh, we lost Jimmy. That was a great conversation. I hope we can get him back. That was a great. Oh, here we go. We got him back. There we go.
Okay, cool. His first thing was not to run. It was always to get the ball out of his hands. I'm telling you something because I want you to look at this year if we have a season. Bryce Love is our wild card. I guarantee you this. If by the fourth game of the season, I think Bryce Love will be starting.
Okay.
Or he's going to play a large amount of the snap counts because he has the ability not only to run between the tackles, but he's fast enough to make the edge. He's very fast. He's faster than anybody we got in the backfield. He's got good hands, and he's in the Air Coryell offense. You need a back that can come out and catch the ball. And being that we don't have a fullback per se, he's going to be used just like CMC. And to me, he's better than CMC.
Yeah, you did. I remember you said. I think you said that this afternoon, actually.
Yeah, way better.
Yep.
So watch Bryce Love, and Bryce Love will turn into that security blanket that Dwayne Haskins is going to need. We're going to have to run the ball first. We're going to have to be a play action passing team to make him comfortable.
I mean, I think you watched the blueprint of that Carolina game. That's everything the Redskins needed to do to win a game is running it down the throats, giving them opportunities, like you said, on play action. And that's what we did. I mean, people think to be a successful quarterback in this league, you got to throw for 300, 400 some odd yards and throw 3 touchdowns. I mean, if you throw $150 and don't turn the ball over, and your running backs are running 90, 100 yards, that's a recipe for success. You don't have to have sexy numbers to win ball games. Like, I'm trying to win games. I'm not trying to win. I'm not trying to see you win highlight number 1 on SportsCenter on Sunday night and Monday morning. That shame on me for thinking that, I guess, but it is what it is at the end of the day.
Joe Montana probably never threw a pass over 50 yards his whole career. West Coast offense was built to get the ball out. It was built in a way to get the ball out of the quarterback's hands fast, to allow the running backs to get into the passing game for quick checkdowns. And it depended on the running backs. I mean, the wide receivers to run after the catch.
Mm-hmm.
The Air Coryell offense, even though it's built to stretch the field. If you go back and look at Dallas in the mid '90s when
That's
Norv
when Norv
Turner,
was there. Yeah.
okay, they ran the Air Coryell offense. If you go back and you look at the best Air Coryell offense, wasn't even in Pittsburgh. The best Air Coryell offense was in San Diego.
Right.
Depending on an athletic tight end that could split the seam, um, and a running back like Chuck Muncie and those guys to keep pressure on the defense so you wouldn't know if they're going to run or pass. Um, Terry McLaurin is that kind of receiver that can stretch the field. Steven Sims can stretch the field, but you need somebody big to play the middle. I think Calvin Harmon is going to have a tremendous season if he starts. If they don't sit him, he's got the most to gain in this offense besides Dwayne Haskins. Um, I
He
want you
showed
to.
flashes.
The boy to me is smooth. He don't separate the best, but he's got good hips. He's got decent hands. He can get the 50-50 ball. He can block out. Man, man. I tell everybody I'm tight as hell, and I
Mm-hmm.
spent $4,000 on some tickets this week
Yeah, you did,
for season
right?
passes. And I didn't spend $4,000 on season passes, and I live in the DMV. I spent
Mm-hmm.
$4,000 on season passes, and I live in Dallas,
Yeah.
which means I got to travel every
Oh my
weekend
gosh.
to see my team.
Yeah.
That's how hype I am about this season.
I do think that there's going to be an improvement. Like I said, I'm not right now. I'm not saying this is a playoff team by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not saying that, but I think they're going to be competitive in every game. And I said they can pick up 3, 4, maybe 5 games this year. Would that put you at 8-8, 7-9? And I think the way this team was last year, if they can get that, if they can get to that point, especially how this offseason looks like it's going to pan out to be, I think that's a win for the Skins. So, but I'm excited because I'm ready to see competitive football from this team.
Well, think about this: the only team that doesn't have much of a turnaround right now in our division is the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else has a new head coach. Um, Two of the teams have second-year quarterbacks at the helm. The Eagles got Mr. Glass at quarterback. So all you got to do is hit him one good time, and he'll be on the sideline for at least 4 weeks, if not more. And there's no backup there. We could actually sneak through and win this division. Now, the sad part is I don't think we won't be a playoff caliber team.
Right.
We won't have the discipline. I don't think. I mean, Ron will have them playing smart, and if we get Chase Young, if we take Chase Young, because I'm an Isaiah Simmons
I
fan.
know you are, man,
If
and
we
that's all
take
right.
if we take Chase Young, we gonna give him fits. If we take Isaiah Simmons, I think we're gonna mess up the whole dang NFC East because Chase Young can play for
Mm-hmm.
any defensive coordinator in the league. Isaiah Simmons in the hands of Jack Del Rio, and you look at his track record with hybrid players,
Mm-hmm.
Von Miller,
Right.
um, what's the boy that got
Julius Peppers.
yep. Man, you look at those two mad scientists, our head coach and our defensive coordinator,
Mm-hmm.
with an Isaiah Simmons. Sheesh.
It's like I said earlier. I said with Isaiah Simmons, you get a chess piece, and then I said with Chase Young, you get a bulldozer.
Yeah,
Either way, you can play the gambit on the field because you're gonna have somebody that's gonna blow through the quarterback, or you're gonna have somebody that's so versatile that you can move him almost anywhere on the board.
that's it.
So yeah, and you made a point about the quarterbacks here. In your mind, who is the best quarterback in this division?
Dak,
I agree with you. Now I'm gonna
Dak.
have to go take a shower after this, but I agree with you 110%.
That's correct.
Yeah, I
Dak
think.
has the most upside. He's consistent. He doesn't lose many games.
Mm-mm.
He doesn't turn over the ball. He just and to me he doesn't choke.
No,
I don't think he has I don't think he has the talent around him that Cowboys fans think he has. Because to me, Ezekiel Elliott is going on his downside.
right.
And because you remember how he used to finish off runs his first 2 or 3
Oh,
years in the league?
he's looked sluggish.
Yeah, he doesn't finish off runs. Um, Amari Cooper, to me, is the best, worst high paid receiver in the league. And I'm gonna tell you why. He does not catch the ball with his hands. He catches the ball with his body. And so which means he drops the ball.
Right.
To me, Gallup is a more consistent receiver than Amari Cooper.
He's got
Amari
the
Cooper,
hands.
right? Amari Cooper is just a hell of a route runner, amazing route runner. But that son gun man, if you watch any of his highlights, look how close the ball gets to his body. All you got to do is have somebody that can hit, and we got
Right.
corners now that can naturally hit. You can say whatever you want to say about Darby, but Darby will drop that hammer on you.
Yeah, and you got Sean Davis too now. If
I
he's running
love,
that
I,
post route,
I
that's it.
Sean Davis makes me moist.
Yeah.
I love, man. I love Sean Davis,
Oh
man.
man.
No joke, man.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. We might have to bring out them cold hot dogs for you later, but it's all right.
Man, man, I remember when Sean Davis came into the league because I used to play Sean Davis on NCAA.
Okay.
So when he came into the league and got drafted by Pittsburgh,
Mm-hmm.
he he looked dang good. And last year he would have actually played. He started his first game. He just got hurt. He hurt his shoulder.
Yeah.
That
I
joker
think
right
this.
there.
Yeah,
Woo.
this secondary is going to be. I think the secondary is going to be underrated, to be honest with you. But I think they got the pieces to be successful. Um, with the corner, you bring back Kendall Fuller. You got
Yes.
Fabian Monroe, who should. I think he can take the next step. Now you've got
Moreland.
Ronald Darby. So you got three corners, three good corners. Average to above average, right? And then you've got your safety. You got Sean Davis, who Ron Rivera said pretty much it's his spot to lose. And then
Right.
you've got Landon Collins, who can come in there and play in the box and play the run. So yeah, this secondary is, I think, is going to pan out to be real. Is something special. They really are, and I think they're going to be underrated, for sure.
And if the line can penetrate, if our line penetrates, he can let the linebackers just float.
Mm-hmm.
Because the funny thing, if you watch how Del Rio does his 4-3 over,
Mm-hmm.
or his 4-3 under, I'm sorry, how he does his 4-3 under, the nose guard really doesn't penetrate. And I want people to go back and watch. The nose guard does not penetrate. He, even though he plays a single gap, he holds up the center
Mm-hmm.
like he's playing two gap responsibility. It's the three technique that they let loose and the ends, and they let the Mike linebacker kind of float and choose
Yep.
the opposite side of where the nose guard goes. And if Stephen Davis, if
It's
Thomas
Sean.
Davis,
Oh, Thomas, yeah.
If Thomas Davis is playing our middle linebacker, which I think he will be this season, with that experience, the speed, and the savvy, man, I
Yeah.
think I think Cole Holcomb gonna be playing special teams because I think Reuben Foster gonna come back and he's guaranteed he's gonna be our Sam.
Yeah.
And those are the only in the 4-3 under, whoever's playing on the strong side, which will be either it's either gonna be Bostic or it's gonna be Anderson.
Yeah, that I think that they were going to give Ryan Anderson an opportunity at that spot. So,
So
yeah,
it's
I
gonna be
mean,
either one of them two that's gonna be playing that strong side linebacker. So you imagine Stephen Davis and Reuben Foster just patrolling the middle. I
mm-hmm.
ooh,
Defense
ooh,
is going to be nice this year. I think defense. I think for the first time in over a decade, I think we might have a top defense.
dude, I'm telling you,
Hey, hey, we got the line. We got the defensive line. You got a good problem at linebacker. You got. I think we got all these decisions are like the people that they've signed and the people that they have on the team. It's like who you gonna cut? Like that's it. And you most years Redskins have an opportunity where it's like, well, that guy's gone, that guy's gone, that guy's gone. But they added so much depth through free agency, and they're probably gonna add more competition through the draft. I mean, you got a great problem, and that's the one thing the Redskins haven't had. They haven't had a good problem
hey,
when it
the
comes time.
the thing to watch in training camp, watch
Mm-hmm.
the battle between watch the battle between Payne and Subtle.
Okay.
Subtle gonna fool some people this year because Subtle is a beast, and if
Oh
he
yeah,
only
he is.
has one gap responsibility,
Eat it up. Eat it up. Hey, I'm gonna tell you this right now. We from the same area in Prince William County, boys that come to eat. Then he played at Tech.
uh-huh.
I believe in him. I know that brother gonna go out there and show off. So, I like everything I see out of Tim. So, if they put him, the one thing about this and I never understood when we moved to it, the Redskins were always a 3-4 team
Right,
in that last decade, but we kept on drafting 4-3 players. Ryan Kerrigan never played linebacker at Purdue. He was
right.
always a hand in the ground defensive
Defensive
end.
end.
And then you put him in coverage. I never understood that. We had players like your Albert Hainsworth, who were like, I really don't want to get into it, but you spent all this money on him in 09, and then you take away what he does well, but you spend all that money on. I didn't get that out of Mike Shanahan. And Who else have we drafted? It just seems like they were out of position on defense. Like
I think a lot of our picks have been 4-3 players forced to play a 3-4.
Exactly.
Look, let's just be honest. Preston Smith
Yeah.
should have been playing straight ahead the whole time.
Oh yeah.
We wouldn't even have this Chase Young debate right now if they would have played Preston Smith properly.
Yeah. Trent Murphy. You had Trent Murphy who, like, I mean, these guys were linemen. They were defensive linemen. They weren't linebackers. We going dropping back in coverage.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's crazy as heck. And then to have Montez Sweat dropping back in coverage.
Nope.
Is the dumbest damn thing this side of the Mississippi River.
Preach. And this side too, because I know you're on the opposite side. So
yeah, this joker runs a 4-4-1. How in the world do you have him going backwards when and all you do is line him up on the side of the least athletic tackle?
Right. Like you got him on that weak side. You got him on that weak side, so
and just let him go. Let him go.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man. I'm wondering what they're gonna do in the draft because I'm telling you, Kerrigan has not restructured his deal. And it doesn't, and there's nothing being said about it. Why would you pay this man $11 million this year if you're not going to let him play?
Right.
So I'm wondering if in that war room, I hear a lot of people say, well, Dan Snyder, he never talks to players and he talked to Chase Young. Well, okay, that's fine and dandy. But you're still paying somebody $11 million that still has gas in his tank. If you don't trade him before the draft, and everybody's saying he's going to retire Redskin, okay, I can believe that. But I don't see them bringing Chase Young in if you still paying this man $11 million.
And I think we get caught up in that a lot. Somebody retiring as a Redskin and somebody, I go back to this and I might be treading on thin ice when I say this. I always think the biggest mistake is that the Redskins made or Dan Snyder made in his career was the fact that he didn't bring back Marty Schottenheimer. He went after Steve Spurrier. And
worst decision ever.
I think the biggest reason, and if you go back and you look at it, who was the one person that did not respect Marty Schottenheimer? Darryl Green. And he was on year 19. He wanted to get that. Everybody was talking about. I'll never forget. People talking like, we want him to get to 20. We want him to get to 20. Just so he'd been here 20 years. He had 20 seasons in the NFL. I'm like, 2020 hindsight, I'm like, that was the craziest decision you could have made. I think Marty would have had that team in the playoffs the next year.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah, he would have. And I mean, it's still people today that hate Marty Schottenheimer just because of that one thing. I do love them. The Chargers, that was my second favorite team when they had Rivers and Gates and LT. I loved watching them just because of the fact of Marty Schottenheimer. Because I just like what he did. I like how the guy was, just how he was wired and how he treated people. And he always said, I'll never forget what he said to LT. And it resonates. I tell my students this. I tell people that I work with. I say, it's not about the last moment. I used to work in a call center. He says, not about the last play, it's about the next play. I said, it's not about the last call, it's about the next call.
That's right.
And it's so practical. And like I said, football is a lot like life. There's processes, right? And that was one of those things. I never forget that, and that always stuck with me because LT had fumbled the ball or something, and he just said, "Hey, look at me. It's about this. It's about the next play, not the last play. You can't let it eat you up." So, and granted, with that's what your Kirk Cousins lovers. It's not about the last quarterback. It's about the current quarterback. I don't think do I have a witness of it, but that's all right.
I hated
Yeah.
Kirk
So,
Cousins.
huh?
I hated Kirk Cousins.
You hate Kirk Cousins,
dude.
Talk to me.
Dude.
Talk to me.
Okay, if you want to talk about check down throwing,
right?
If you want to talk about inconsistent quarterback play, one thing I do like about Kirk Cousins, that son of a gun is a businessman.
Mm-hmm.
If you want a businessman on your team, that joker right there is one hell of a businessman.
Oh, he's a hustler.
That joker that made more money in the last 4 years than I will probably make in my lifetime.
Yeah.
And
you know what they call? You know what my nickname is for him, right?
What's that?
Bernie Madoff.
Okay, because he made.
It used to be Sam Bradford.
Whew.
Bananas, Kirk Cousins.
You
biggest
dang right.
Ponzi scheme in the world.
Hold on. I'm gonna cut this light on. I'm starting to look like you guys on Skin's page.
Oh God. While he's turning on the light, y'all need to check Yimmy's page, HTTR behind enemy lines. That's all. So he's doing live videos. He's posting stuff up. Go over there and subscribe to him. Give him a like. Yeah, and we're trying to make this community. We're trying to extend the web out. So like you were saying about Bernie Madoff. I mean Kirk Cousins. Same difference. Whatever.
Yeah, I'm tripped out, man, because Kirk Cousins was, to me, about as effective as Trent Dilfer. Fitzpatrick.
Oh wow.
And we had Redskins fans that just were enamored by this dude.
I'm not gonna lie. I was one of the guys that was enamored by him, and the only reason why I was enamored by him was the fact that even when we were playing we played low competition, but for some reason they were in those games, running game. They were in those games. I'm like, that's why I was a Kirk Cousins fan. I like I said, I go with the hot hand, and I'd say give him the opportunity to start. And once he had the opportunity to start, he backed into a division championship. Let's be honest there, because the Eagles broke apart. Dallas Roma was hurt that season, and the Giants are what the Giants are pretty much now. So they've never really rebounded. They're going to have the curse of Tom Coughlin on for a long time. Just how they treated that man. So,
bruh, I'm going to tell you, it was the best. We could have traded him.
Mm-hmm.
We don't. The front office, if you're not going to keep a player, and you keep giving him these 1-year deals, move on from the man,
right?
And get whatever draft capital you can get for him. That same draft that they picked him up, why didn't they pick Russell Wilson?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, look at what Russ is doing now. Hasn't missed a game, won a Super Bowl, won conference championships. He's won the division. How many? About 4 or 5 division championships. No, I agree with you 110% on that one. He just, but like I said, it's Bruce Allen is in the martyr business, and I don't know, was in the martyr business. Like, he always would try to outdo these play like he did the same thing Kirk Cousins, what he did with Trent Williams. You
Right.
have this capital here. It's the same thing. I think it's a DC sports thing because it's the same thing with the Nationals and Bryce Harper.
Yeah.
You weren't going anywhere with Harper. You weren't going anywhere with Trent. You weren't going anywhere with Kirk. Why don't you just go ahead and get the capital so I can go to, it's like I said, I want to go dice game. I like shooting craps, right?
Right.
Why don't I want to get a little extra shot at the craps table? So I'm gonna go to the ultimate craps table, which is the NFL draft, right? So
Right.
I can blow on my dice a little bit more and have another shot at the table, right?
Yes. And it's a proven fact that Kyle Smith is a damn good scout.
Right.
That's now if we don't have anything to brag about in Washington, we probably have one of the better scouting staffs in the NFL. We pick damn good players later on in the draft,
Mm-hmm.
which sucks because we don't have a fifth year damn option on them. But
Nope.
we pick some damn good players. Um, it's going to be to me it's going to I'm excuse my French.
Go ahead. It's all right.
Watching the Redskins the last few years has been like masturbating with sandpaper in your hand. You gonna get where you need to go, but it's gonna hurt.
Yeah, all right. That's right. No, you're right.
And this time around, with Ron Rivera and Kyle Smith working together as close as they have been, and Ron Rivera saying, "Hey, I may not be that good at this," and he's letting Kyle Smith put his system on players with the color coded system, and
Right.
he's showing him how he goes about doing things. And Ron Rivera is buying into this system. That's another damn thing. We don't listen to what they're saying for what it is they're saying. When
Mm-hmm.
Ron Rivera had that press conference, he said, and I quote, "Why do you trade back from the number 2 spot to get player D?"
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he didn't say player B or player C. He
Right.
said player D.
Mm-hmm.
So now you got to look at their draft board and you got to think, even though Burrow is probably on their draft board, he's not their
He's not in
necessity.
need. Right.
So we know Chase Young, Isaiah Simmons, Jeffrey Okuda, and maybe one of the tackles.
Right.
Who is player D? Because evidently player A, B, and C have the same value.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm telling folks, man. Don't get so caught up into this. We're going to get Chase Young shit when you got somebody that's a master at manipulating the game. They haven't
Right.
showed their hand. They're not showing their hand. Everything that's coming out of these press conferences has basically been the Redskins are going to take Chase Young at number 2. Who told you that? Or is that your opinion? When Isaiah Simmons runs he ran a three he ran a 4.39, but anybody that's ever seen or ran track realizes that son gun, once he hit through his drive phase, he
Mm-hmm.
he he did he strided the rest of the way through. He could have ran a 4.31. He is known to run anywhere between a 4.31 and a 4.35 consistently.
And he was a what track star in Kansas in high school?
Yes, he
Yeah.
ran the 400. He ran the
Okay.
two and the 400. So he's a runner. He long jumped. He is a athlete.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, man, all these people always talk about how much they love Sean Taylor and Washington and Sean Taylor. He is the next best thing to Sean Taylor that we would ever see in a Redskins uniform.
I like what you said there. Next best thing. That I like that. I like that. Um, no, but I agree. Like I said, and we've had this we had this conversation about 2 weeks ago, and I've told you this before, and I say it until draft day. There is no way, unless they trade out of it, that the Redskins can screw this up. Like they
Right,
can't, because you're going to either go Chase Young, Isaiah Simmons. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, and you're going to get a blue chip player.
correct.
I don't like I'm on the Chase Young bandwagon,
Oh,
but
I know.
but and the one thing you do know is though I'm not against Isaiah Simmons. You
Right,
have people out here in social media world that are like, no, 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 it's chase or bust, chase or bust, chase or bust, and that's what I say. And the one thing about that is, I say you get on this, like I call the hangover effect.
hmm
I saw The Hangover. My friends told me it's a great movie. After I had talked to a whole bunch of friends about it, I watched it. Didn't think it was that great. So you put in this brother on a pedestal to be like, oh, you're gonna be. It's like Eddie Murphy said. It's like be out in the desert and you got a saltine cracker, right? And then you be like, then you realize it after a while. Oh, it's just a regular old cracker.
okay.
And you be like, oh, this is the best cracker in the whole wide world. It's the same concept. Do not put your hopes up. Don't put your hopes up. My mom used to tell me all the time, say, don't put your hopes up if you think your dad's gonna come and see you this weekend. He
Okay.
always said that, right? So don't put your hopes up on him. Like I want Chase Young, but I ain't gonna be disappointed if the Redskins say, hey, I'm gonna get Isaiah, we're gonna take Isaiah Simmons. You gotta keep open mind to this stuff, man. Like they're both great talents,
hmm
blue chip, and they've got great. What's the key word? They got great potential. They both
That's
do.
it.
They the potential.
And both of them are high character guys.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Isaiah Simmons has a higher motor than Chase Young because I've never seen Isaiah Simmons take a break.
Right.
Chase Young drifts in and out in games. Um, he does get the sacks. He does. He is disruptive. But the problem with this is the problem that I see with him. You got to look at the conference. When you playing in the Big Ten, you play Maryland, um,
Illinois.
Illinois, Syracuse.
No, they're in the
No,
ACC.
ACC. Maryland,
Northwestern.
Northwestern.
Yep.
I mean, look at the
Indiana.
top. Yeah, Wisconsin or Wisconsin. You know, look at the level of play, and then you start to think, um, how many of those tackles or guards are going to start in the NFL that he played
Right.
against in college? Now, I'm not saying that he's not a good player, but what I'm saying is that Isaiah Simmons played against better competition. Um, to me, he played in bigger games. He
Mm-hmm.
started longer. He's been starting ever since he was a sophomore.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So you don't. I mean, he played safety first, and then they moved him to linebacker this year. It's rare to see a 6'4", 238 pound linebacker that can run a 4.31. Do you understand that there ain't a quarterback in the league that can run him?
I I did not know that. I ain't gonna lie,
There's
did it?
There's not a quarterback in the
Quarterback.
league that can outrun him.
Not even Murray.
Not Murray, not
Not Russ.
Jackson,
Wow.
not they superimposed him over Russell over they superimposed him over Russell Wilson,
Oh
and
wow.
he got him by at least almost damn near 5 yards.
Oh my gosh. And you think about that, that was back in 2012, and you know he's slowed down since then.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And everybody talking about, oh man, can you just imagine if the Giants get Chase Young and he's mad, dude. Chase Young is not a Cowboy fan.
Right.
He grew up a damn Eagles fan. He
Right.
just from DC.
Yeah, I mean, like, and I think the one thing about Chase Young is he's got the talent and everything,
Yes.
but he's probably like that smart kid that doesn't apply himself.
Yeah.
It's a kid. It's a kid that gets the B's when he could get A's and A's all the time. He's a kid that gets the work done, but sleeps in the back of the class. I think that's what he can be, the prodigy. But and there have been kind of shots at him maybe not taking it as serious as he needs to, like his workouts and everything. He's not a real workout warrior. You know, that's for me personally, that's a concern. And then all you hear about Chase Young, Isaiah Simmons, is that he is boom, boom, boom. And granted, you got a harder nosed coach at Clemson than you do at Ohio State. Whether if you got Dabo first of all, and then Brent Venables, he's nothing to be played around with.
Right.
So you're not going to take time off, and you're not going to play this part if you haven't earned your keep. Now Ohio State might be a little bit Ryan Day. He might be tough, but I don't think he's as tough as those two guys.
Well, think about this, and this is another thing that I don't think a lot of our fans look at. Oh, we don't know what position we're going to play him at. You hear that, but this is what trips me out. He has to go to linebacker meetings, safety meetings, cornerback meetings, and defensive line meetings.
Yeah.
All while keeping his GPA.
Yep.
And they don't think about that. He has to go to every group's meetings and he's got to know what it is they're doing. So if he's put in a position to play out of his position, he can play effectively. And he rarely got beat.
That's that versatility.
IQ.
Yeah. That's that versatility. Like I said, the high football IQ. He's gonna be in those situations, and I mean, like I said, they don't know where he's gonna play. I think that's a good problem to have.
I'd put his ass at Mike. I'd put him at Mike, and I would tell him, you have from 5 yards behind the offensive line to 15 yards behind you, and that's your area every damn play. Now read the offense to be in the right spot.
Right. Yeah, I mean,
think about it. You don't need to put in a spy. You don't have to change defense to spy on nobody if you're playing Lamar Jackson, which we played this year. You don't need a spy if we play against Russell Wilson, because we played them this year.
Yeah, Kyler Murray.
Kyler Murray. You don't need a spy when you play Dak.
The Ravens.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
He is to me, he is the damn obvious choice because of what Ron Rivera said when he first went there. I want players who have a high football IQ, who
Mm-hmm.
can play multiple positions, and I can move them around the field. You can't move Chase Young nowhere. Where in the hell you gonna put him? You gonna put him at one side of the
You're gonna
line,
put them
the
in
other
strong side
side?
or weak side, one of the two. So you're gonna have
Right.
closed, open end. So yeah.
Unless you do a NASCAR offense, a defensive line, and you put them inside on the three technique. And I know a lot of people are putting stuff in the chat right now, and they
Mm-hmm.
probably saying he don't know what the hell he talking about. F you.
Nah, man, I think you know what you're talking about. So
I'm
I
just
agree. Like I said, I agree with you. I understand. Like you know, it's all about perspective, and like people don't realize. I think in life you got to have perspective on stuff. So whether you like people might not agree with the Isaiah Simmons pick, or or people want Chase Young, but you got to understand at the end of the day that I think you bring up an excellent argument that if anybody argued with you about that, like their argument will be in. Um, I think people, we see that little minuscule thing. We want that pass rusher, but you can get that with Isaiah Simmons, and you can get somebody who's in the middle. Like I said, you have a good problem at linebacker because I think you can, like any three combinations you put, they can be starters in the league. So why
yes.
not add to that and have a better problem at the end of the day? Like, so you're gonna put him in the middle. Thomas Davis is older. He's 38. He just turned 38. So you're gonna need somebody who he can help cultivate into that defensive leader. So next year, if he retires, you got a new person wearing the C on their chest.
Thank you.
Your Isaiah Simmons.
Oh, check this out.
Uh huh.
So Ron Rivera came out of a 46 defense.
Right in Chicago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, everybody talks about the standard 46 defense where you have three linebackers, you put two of them on the strong side, you bring your safety down, and he plays next to your linebacker, next to your middle linebacker, and you
Mm-hmm.
have a high safety over the top. Okay. But there's also a 46 bear defense where you have three safeties and two linebackers.
Mm-hmm.
So you have Simmons, Davis, and Collins.
Right.
And then you put Darby and Fuller
Mm-hmm.
playing press man on the outside. And now you have Simmons sitting right next instead of bringing Sean Davis down. I mean, bringing Landon Collins down to play next to your Mike linebacker. You leave Simmons there, and you put Collins on the line, or
Mm-hmm.
vice versa. Now
Right.
let's see how that looks.
Yeah, I hear you, bro. I hear you. I think that's a disaster waiting to happen. But on
Whew.
defense, disaster is good.
And you can play that formation right there if the team comes out in 11,
Mm-hmm.
if they come out in zero formation or 11 formation. You can play that if the offense comes in, if they come in a 12 look
Yeah.
or 22 look. You can you don't have to change your base.
Nope. I,
So you see people running in and off the field to change packages. The Redskins wouldn't have to do that with Isaiah Simmons. They just go on to get on the field. If they got somebody in the slot, that's your man.
there you go. Yeah, I think that that, and that's something we've seen too much of. I think that's a sign of organization, which we haven't had on defense, and we got the best defensive mind since Greg Williams, and
Ooh,
I think the best defensive mind since Greg Williams was on this team, and you know how much they miss Greg Williams because they tried to lure his butt back in last year, but
the best two defensive coordinators I think we ever had on our team were Rhodes
mm-hmm.
and Williams.
Yeah, no, I agree. And Ray Rhodes, he didn't get. I don't think he got nearly enough credit because that offense was so lacking when Brad Johnson got hurt, and you brought in like Jeff George.
Yeah,
When they went that, which I still, it blows my mind today to think that Jeff George went into St. Louis and beat the defending champs. I still can't believe that. But you had Jeff George, who only won one start with the Redskins, and that team went down. And Dan Snyder was the reason why Jeff George came to the Redskins, and he was putting pressure on Norv to start him.
Yep.
So you look at that, Ray Rhodes in the defense. I mean, he was doing it with like Dion, Mark Carrier was back there. You had Deshaun Barbers,
Bruce Smith.
Bruce Smith. You had that defensive line that was nothing but first round picks. You had old Dana Stubblefield, Big Daddy Dan Wilkinson. You had Marco Coleman. You had Indy Kalu also, who was on there. So they were interchangeable with Bruce. I mean, and then we had our linebackers there. You had Champ Bailey at the time. Darryl Green was still serviceable. So you had three good corners.
Yes.
And they were like, dude, they were holding teams down. I never forget that Tampa Bay game that went into overtime. And Darryl Green got that record interception.
Yep.
Like the defense was locked down. They were locked down. Now, granted, we need to get a shutout. We ain't had a shutout since I was on in the crib. We need one of those. Like I still get mad at the Redskins back. I think the closest time they had the opportunity to shut a team out was when they played Detroit in 2007, and we were teeing off on these suckers. And we just decided, you know what, John Kitna, we'll give you a pass. I said Joe Gibbs was too soft then. We should have just beat him into submission. But yeah, man, I think Ray Rhodes, he does not get enough credit for what he did. And then, they still had some of those pieces there when Kurt Schottenheimer took it as the DC. And I mean, and the offense struggled too under Jimmy Ray the following season. But,
you know why they brought Ray Rhodes in?
Why was that?
To take Norv's spot.
Yeah.
And I'm not telling you what I think I know. I'm telling you right out of Ray Rhodes' mouth.
That's what he said.
Yeah, I met him last year at where I work. I can't say where I work. I met him at the hospital that I work at.
Uh-huh.
And he told me, I met him, I was on the elevator, and I had one of those, I have a Redskin surgical cap.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll send you a picture.
Okay.
I'll text you the picture. But so I'm on the elevator with the man, and he goes, "You a Redskin fan?" I said, "Die hard, baby, die hard." And he goes, "I coach for the Redskins." And in my mind, I'm like, you ain't coach for no damn Redskins. And then you know how you sit back and you look at somebody,
and you're like,
"You Ray Rhodes?" And he started laughing. And I'm 6'3", and I'm at that time I was like 6'3", 350.
Uh-huh.
And I just ran up and hugged him.
Oh my God.
I enveloped him. And he was like, I said, I'm so sorry, Mr. Rhodes, I'm so sorry. And he was like, "Why are you sorry?" I said, "Man, can I just tell you?" And he's like, "What?" I said, "My dad has been a Redskins fan all of his life. And when I was growing up, all he talked about was you. When you played when you played defensive back for the Giants, when you started coaching, the great work that you did when you were at
Mm-hmm.
Philadelphia, when you came over here and coached the Redskins. I was like, man, can I FaceTime? Can I FaceTime my dad?
Oh
And he
wow.
was like, yes, you can FaceTime your father. And this was right before the year before my dad died. And my dad was like, son, that was probably one of the best gifts you could ever
That's
gave the old man.
awesome. That is
He was so
awesome.
real, man. And and to this day, like every time if he has to come up there to the hospital to
Mm-hmm.
see family members, he'll stop by and just wave, holler at me, and then
Yeah,
he'll walk out. He is so dang cool. But he
that's
said
awesome.
the reason why he didn't take the head coaching job was because Dan Snyder locked him in his office and wouldn't let him leave, and it pissed him off. He told him he wasn't gonna leave out of his office without a contract being signed. And you don't tell no black man from Mahia, Texas, that
Right.
he can't get out of his office. You like, I'm a grown ass man.
That
You
God,
gonna tell me that's why he didn't sign, man, to be our head coach. That's
man.
how we ended up getting Schottenheimer.
I that's like I mean that reminded me of the time I was at the MGM in out there in the harbor, and I saw this little dude sitting, and he was like he was just sitting there with one of his boys and just hanging out. And I looked right, I looked to my right, and then I was like, I said, I know that dude from somewhere. You know who it was?
Who?
The Answer.
Oh man.
AI. It was AI. And I was like, I'm not gonna be this fan. I'm not gonna be this fan. Well, like, oh my God, it's because he didn't look like he wanted to be bothered, right? So I'm like,
Right.
I told my fiance, I said, look this dude up for me real quick. I said, look up Allen Iverson. And I kid you not, we I'll tell the story again. Uh he comes up, he shows up, and it was like, it's Allen Iverson. And we double checked on Instagram just to make sure. And he had checked in at the harbor at one of them hotels. So he was getting his Charles Barkley on trying to gamble. So that was pretty cool. That was sweet. So and that's an awesome story by Yemi. And the Ray Rhodes thing. I mean, I probably would have done the same thing. Um, my fool, I called into a Mike Nolan radio show one time, and I thanked him for his service to the Washington Redskins, which he said he learned nothing in Washington. Let me see here. Yeah,
Man, I don't know what happened. I think I sent you a text message.
yeah, I got it right here. I got your
Okay.
yeah, I got it. I'll shoot you my number.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, but no, I was like, I said, that's Allen Iverson. And then we checked on Instagram that he was there. I said, are you kidding me? I said, the answer just right there. I'm like, and he just because he's from Virginia, that's one of my favorite basketball players of all time. So,
The best
uh,
quarterback to ever come out of the state of Virginia.
who, Allen Iverson? I thought you were gonna talk about homeboy from what's his name, Ronald Curry. I thought you were gonna say
Oh
Ronald
yeah.
Curry from.
Well, Ronald Curry may have been a little bit better. See,
Uh huh.
my dad was raised in Newport News,
Okay. Yeah. All right.
so he's from South Carolina, raised in Newport News, went to high school, and then moved to New York and dropped out of school and went in the Air Force.
Okay. Wow.
But yeah, that's how. Um, yeah, Allen Iverson, outside of Curry, Allen Iverson was the best quarterback to ever play in Newport in Virginia at quarterback. Just go back and look at some of his tape.
Oh, I believe it. I believe it. I actually got a chance to see the guy who broke his scoring record in basketball. I got to see him play in high school because he's right down the road from us. McClung at Georgetown.
Uh huh.
Yeah, I got to see him play in high school. because they play at the college I work at. They play some high school games up there sometimes, so it's kind of cool. University of Virginia's College Wise, UVA Wise.
Okay.
Yeah. So I got this. I told you about my story that I had in the local paper. It was supposed to run on Monday, but Mac McClung said he was declaring for the draft. So the guy called me and said, "Hey, your story's going to get kicked to it's going to get kicked to Tuesday because Mac McClung declared for the draft." And the first thing I said to him was like, "I'm like, you had to tell me this." I'm like, "It's Mac McClung." I'm like,
"Okay."
I'm like, "Okay, like I can kick that stuff to the curb. That's fine. I think that's an honor that I got kicked to the curb for Mac McClung." So
wow.
Yeah, so that I mean, it's cool there. We got somebody that said, what about Michael Vick being the great quarterback here?
Michael Vick was great, but he couldn't hold Allen Iverson's jock strap.
Yeah. I agree with you.
Hey, are you Greek?
Am I what now?
Are you Greek?
Greek? Yeah, I am Greek.
Okay, who you with?
I'm with a national fraternity, Pi Kappa Phi. So we do yeah. Okay. We do I can't hear you. Say again. You a kid?
No, hell no. I graduated from college. I'm a Sigma.
Okay. I got family that's Sigmas.
Yeah, I was wondering. Yeah, man. I graduated, man. Don't call me no Q. I graduated from college. It may have took a while, but I did it.
Hey, man, it don't matter. It ain't. It's not how you finish, as if you finish, right? So that's the.
Ooh, boy. Ooh,
Lord,
boy.
I had people getting mad at me here when because I just finished my master's last year, and I was like dipping on the videos because I was staying up trying to finish work at the time, and I'm like, oh God, I said I can't do this and do that and do this and do that. So now I'm like, last year I finally got back into doing it, and then we started stinking up the joint. So, I'm not the type of person, if I can't offer something positive to it, I'm not gonna bam every day and be like, oh well, this is terrible, because it's obvious. We know it. Right. We know it's terrible. Like, how many times the first 5 weeks of the season? How am I gonna say Jay Gruden is awful? Why did Jay Gruden do this? Why did he throw Haskins in there? Why is Case Keenum still start? Why in the world did he start Colt McCoy against the Patriots? Like it
okay.
Yeah, it makes no sense. So I'm like, I'm not gonna bam on that. I'm just gonna be like, hey, this my team. We stink it up, but I'm not gonna. I ain't never gonna say like Redskins go 0-16. I'll be like, hey, that's my team. Like I'm sticking with them. So
that's it.
Yeah, like Mama ain't raised no chump, and Mama didn't raise somebody who's supposed to quit on stuff during adversity. So hey, it is what it is.
I roll to the grave, man. I'm a firm believer in that we're gonna come back.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna shine again.
Right.
But the thing that bothers that has hurt us more than anything else is that it's not the same NFL it was during the heyday of our franchise. We were good at getting players and letting them become good players and them staying with us mostly all of their career. But free agency, the way it is now, it hurts teams like us.
Yeah.
Because when you stink, nobody's willing to take a deal to stay. I'll give y'all the discount. Ain't nobody giving you no discount to be on a team that's third tier. We ain't even second tier no more.
That's why, and people were like, like when people were shocked that Austin Hooper didn't want to come here, and one of our friends on one of the other channels. He was a big proponent of Logan Ryan.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, one thing they're gonna command too much, and Ron Rivera doesn't spend money on free agency. He spends money in house. He resigns big contracts to his in house people. And second of all, they're not gonna want to come here too because they've seen the dysfunction portrayed in the media of this team, and these players talk. They got former college teammates and stuff. Like y'all, like people don't realize that at the end of the day, they're NFL players, but they're human beings. Like the first time I go somewhere, it's like my boss when she hired me, she called my old boss, who she's friends with, to be like, hey, would he be good at this job? So people talk like it don't, and it's like I find it crazy when like the media and fans are like, "Oh my God, really? I would never put that together." Like, but hey, you got to keep on. You just got to keep on pushing. You got to keep on trucking with it, man. Something else I was going to. Was something else I had to. I'll tell you a fun story here. So the game that made Colt McCoy, Jay Gruden's favorite, right?
Yeah. So when we beat Dallas.
So I was telling, and this is in this article too, right here. My granddad, huge Redskins fan, huge. And that's kind of where my mom and we get our passion from, is from him. So he had felt he started declining in health probably in August of 2014, and I came back home and I worked from home and kind of helped him out and stuff. And, I would always figure out my time was, hey, it's Redskins time to watch the Redskins game. And I said, Monday night, I usually had to work at night. So I really couldn't pay attention to the game. Albeit that he passed away that morning. Wow. And I told my mom, I said, look here, I don't know how this is going to happen, but I said, we're going to win this game. And I told her, I looked at her and I said, I'm never really confident in saying that in the game because I'm superstitious more than anything. I've got a whole ritual to it. So, ritual, right? So I told her, I said, we're going to win this game. So I thought outside the box on it. And had it not been the craziest thing in the world that they would actually come out and win this game. And I said, I really didn't doubt it, man. I was like, it was a reason why they won that game. And you can call me crazy. People can call me crazy, look at me right in the face and call me crazy. I said, hey, there was a bigger meaning for us winning this game today. So, it's a connection. Yeah.
And you know what? Is crazy about, with the Redskins Cowboy rivalry and me being in Dallas, my wife is a Cowboys fan. And Cowboy week, when we get ready to play the Cowboys, we don't even talk.
Ha! I don't blame you.
But I have convinced her. I've gotten her to the point now that she's a Redskins fan as long as we're not playing Dallas. Even to the point to where she actually tried on a Redskins shirt. I was shocked.
Uh-oh.
She was like, try on this Cowboy jersey. Shit, I'll be damned.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm not putting that crap on me.
Shoot, that was like, I like watching hockey too, so my fiance, she was a Penguins fan, and she's like, well, I root for the Capitals when they don't play the Penguins. She said, why can't you root for the Penguins? I said, are you on drugs? That's not how that works.
No,
I despise them. I despise everything about the Penguins. Mario Lemieux and Sidney Crosby and Malkin. I don't like them guys. I never will like them. Right. And I'm like, so finally she kind of comes over to my side. Her dad and her mom are still Penguins fans, but I said it's good now. I said we kind of ironed that out, and so I know where you're coming from on that side of the fence. But she was a soft-hearted Steelers fan, but now she's a Skins fan. So, and we got to her present this year for Christmas was we went and I bought dream seats, right behind the goalpost where they cut at the tunnel. So we were on the second row of that. There was actually when Saquon hit that go route on and scored. He actually scored in our end zone, and you can see us standing up and we're like booing, throwing thumbs down in there. And she got to be on TV twice on Fox, and then we were on NBC Washington during the post game show. So I'm sneaking. There's like a video I got of me sneaking in behind Trevor Maddich and being like, "Hey."
Those dream seats, man, are amazing.
You get fed too, dude.
I know, free
you
food.
Get fed. Like
you get all the food you want. You just can't get no alcoholic beverage.
No, and that's fine. Like that. And those tickets are probably those tickets are stupidly priced. And I bought them. I had to buy 3, so my cousin came with us too. And all together, it cost us like $400.
That's it?
That's it. That was it. I had to pay because we were terrible and the Giants were terrible. So I'm going to take. I said I'm taking a flyer out on this. I said I'll be damned if I miss this.
Hey, they told me, I was talking to them yesterday. Well, I actually talked to them today and yesterday. And the guy told me, he said, Mr. Grant, since you bought those tickets, because I bought mine at club level.
Right.
I had the option to buy the dream seats on the 10-yard line on our side. At the 10-yard line. But they wanted I think it was $3,400 and some change of seat. And I couldn't. Man, I wanted to, and I could have done it, but it would have set me back. Boy, it would have set me back. But he told me, he said, "Listen, just call me in advance because you get your own liaison once you buy season tickets."
Okay.
So you get your liaison and you call them in advance and you say, "Listen, I want to go for this game. I want to sit in a dream seat." And they will give you whatever your tickets were, and then give you a markup price. So it might be another $100 or something like that.
Okay, cool.
So I'm like, shoot, you gonna pay that for food? Because even at the club level, I get 50% off of everything. But I'm telling fans, man, if you're a fan and you can afford to get tickets, get tickets.
Right.
Get season tickets. If I can fly my butt from Louisiana, if I can fly my butt from Texas every week, spend that money, and they give you a payment plan.
Yeah, it's a good investment if you don't go. Like I got my tickets were on StubHub, right. So you can reinvest that too. If you don't have, if it's a chance you're not gonna go to a game, you can reinvest it. And like, granted, if it's a game, like what games are gonna sell out? So you're guaranteed to have 2 games that are going to be premier. Dallas, Philadelphia, right off the bat.
Right.
You're going to get somebody in the AFC who's probably half decent coming in there. So like this year, you'll have, well, not this year because you got Cincinnati and who else is coming to Washington?
The Ravens are coming. That's going to
right.
Out.
So you get Baltimore actually, and then you get Russ coming. Right. You get Kyler Murray coming right this year.
Right.
Is Kyler Murray? Yeah, Kyler Murray's gonna come this year. So I mean, you can't beat that. And then if you're a Panthers fan and you want to see Ron Rivera, if you're not gonna be at that game, hey. So
yeah, I'm not gonna be at the games once it gets real cold
Mm-hmm.
because I'm not built for that. So I figure I'm gonna make all of the NFC East games, and then I'm gonna go to two other games. So that'll be five games, and then three of the games I might not make it.
Well,
So
you
I'm
better
gonna,
you better buckle up because they're gonna host it. They're gonna have a host game in December. Uh, with the NFC East. I think it'd be our turn to host the last game of the season. So
yeah, I'm gonna be there
yeah,
for that one. But
yeah.
I'm not gonna like it.
See, man, hey, I know Texas is strong, but they done made you soft with the weather, huh?
Oh no, it gets cold. It gets cold here too, but it don't get Potomac cold.
Right.
And
I had
it's
snow on the ground Tuesday, so
man, no, heck no.
yeah.
Ooh wee, man.
Man, I
Ooh, that's too much.
well, hey, man, I tell you what, I got a date coming up here. I got a virtual date coming up here with my fiance, and we sit down and watch How to Get Away with Murder. So
Uh-oh.
we're gonna get that up, and I appreciate you coming on here and chatting with me. I do.
Man, I appreciate you having me, bro.
Yeah, man. Anytime, anytime. If y'all see when you see this video, subscribe to Yemi, please. HTTR behind enemy lines because he is. I wouldn't even say he's behind enemy lines. He's in the lines right there. He is surrounded like my cousin. My cousin's in Dallas too, and he's a big Redskins fan. So
Oh shoot.
yeah, he down there too, and I can only imagine what y'all are going through. But like I said,
Well,
I appreciate you, man.
all right, man. I appreciate you. I'll catch you next week, or I'll catch you tomorrow when I come on.
Hey, man, I will be sitting here watching you, sitting fat and happy. Okay,
It'll be 8:30
8:30.
your time,
Okay,
and I'm gonna put it up on StreamYard, so
okay.
y'all come and chime in, and we'll make it happen.
Yes, sir. Absolutely, man.
All right,
All
brother.
right.
Take care. Peace.
You too. Take care.
All right, man.
All right. So appreciate Yemi coming in here on this live stream and talking with us. Appreciate all y'all who like and subscribe, share. I see Skins fan shared it out, so I appreciate your blood on that. But great conversation here, and if you ever want to come on and talk and chat, we talk about the Skins, y'all. Um, we will be working with Redskin Rant next week. I think on a video on Tuesday. It's probably gonna be on his channel. Not really sure on the logistics of that, but I may have said something ahead of time if I'd even responded to him. But either way, we're gonna do something with Redskins Rant next week, previewing the draft. So we're gonna share our draft thoughts there. But like we always say on this channel, we appreciate you. We love you guys. Mr. Amir, he'll be back next week. So we're gonna have all the bullets gonna be in the chamber, right? So we love you, and like we say here on the Warpath, love, peace, and hail. We'll be talking to you real soon. I'm out, y'all.